Disabled spots are for drama. I'm not walking an extra 10 steps because some stranger feels tired. Those were the words that hit my courtroom like a thrown rock. I was sitting on the bench in Providence Municipal Court, looking down at a woman who acted like the room belonged to her. I'm Judge Frank Caprio. I've seen tough cases, I've seen sad cases, I've seen angry people and scared people, but the way this woman said it, like it was funny, made the air feel thin. She was 36. Her hair was perfect, like it had been brushed for a photo. Her nails were shiny and pale pink. Her coat was white and smooth, and it looked expensive. She held her chin up the whole time, like she was waiting for someone to apologize to her for bringing her here. She glanced at the seats behind her, where people waited for their own cases. Then she leaned toward her lawyer and whispered something. He looked tired already. And me? I was watching her eyes. I was listening to how she breathed. Because a courtroom is not just paper. It is people. It is pride. It is fear. It is truth. And sometimes it is a lie dressed in fancy clothes. If you believe justice should be equal for everyone, you'll want to see what happens next. The bailiff stood tall beside me and called the next case in a clear voice. Case 2026 TR 44817, State of Rhode Island versus Marissa Vale. The name made a few heads turn. I could feel it. In a small city, some last names carry weight like a heavy suitcase. I looked at the defendant. Good morning, Ms. Vale. She didn't say good morning back. She just nodded once, quick, like she was doing me a favor. I kept my voice steady. You are here for parking in a disabled space without a permit. You also have a charge for obstructing access because the way your vehicle was placed made it hard for a wheelchair ramp to come down. She rolled her eyes, not a big roll, a small one, but I saw it. Her lawyer cleared his throat. Your Honor, my client. I held up my hand. I will hear you in a moment. Then I looked toward the other table. Before I do, I want to hear from the complainant. A man stood up slowly. He was in his late 50s, maybe 60. He wore a bus driver uniform, blue shirt, dark pants, and a jacket with a patch that said Providence Transit. His hands were large with cracked skin. His face looked like he didn't sleep much, but he still tried to stand straight. I'm Leon Harper, he said. I nodded. Mr. Harper, why are you here today? He swallowed first. I'm here because I had to call it in. I didn't want trouble. I don't like trouble. I leaned forward a little. Tell me about your day. He looked down at his shoes, then back up at me. I drive the city shuttle for patients, the one with the lift. I start at 5 in the morning. I pick up folks who can't drive. Cancer treatments, dialysis, people in chairs. He paused. His voice got soft. My wife passed last year. I've been raising my granddaughter since. My daughter, and she's not doing well. So I work, and I go home, and I cook, and I help with homework. That's my life. The courtroom got quiet in a different way. Not silence like boredom. Silence like respect. I nodded again. And what happened? He took a breath. I pulled up to Mercy Square Clinic. There's a disabled spot right by the ramp zone. It has a big sign, big paint, everything. But there was a silver SUV sitting in it. He pointed, not rude, just clear. That one, her SUV. Ms. Vale shifted like she was annoyed at being looked at. Leon continued. I had a woman on my bus, Ms. Delia Cruz. She's in a chair. She has one leg. She had an appointment. We were late already because traffic was bad. He rubbed his thumb over his palm, like he was trying to calm himself. I honked. I waited. I used the intercom. Nobody came out. So I parked the best I could, but the ramp couldn't drop like it should. I tried another angle. Still no. His eyes got wet, but he did not cry. Ms. Delia tried to wheel down anyway. The edge caught. She tipped. A sound moved through the gallery. A small gasp, like a wave. Leon's voice shook. I grabbed her before she hit the ground, but she got scared, real scared. She kept saying, please don't drop me. Please don't drop me. I felt something tighten in my chest. I've watched people break down over small things, but this wasn't small. This was dignity. This was safety. I looked at the defendant again. Ms. Vale, do you have a disabled permit? She flicked her hand like shooing a fly. No, because I'm not disabled. I kept my tone calm. Then why did you park there? She leaned forward. Because I was running in for 1 minute, and because the lot was full, and because I'm not going to circle like a loser. Her lawyer's face turned pink. He lowered his eyes. I spoke slowly. Ms. Vale, this court expects respect. You can defend yourself without insulting others. She smiled a little. Respect? I'm being respectful. I showed up, didn't I? I heard a faint wow from the gallery. The bailiff shifted his feet. I gave a warning, clear and calm. I'm going to tell you once. The way you speak matters here. If you keep crossing the line, I will take action. She sat back like she wasn't worried at all. Then the prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the state is ready with evidence. I nodded. Proceed. The prosecutor held up a photo. Evidence number 1. A time-stamped parking enforcement photo showing the defendant's vehicle in the disabled spot at 9:12 a.m. No placard, no plate permit. He walked it forward. I looked at it. The silver SUV was clean and shiny. It sat in the disabled space like it owned the paint. I looked up. Ms. Vale, is that your vehicle? Yes, she said, bored. I turned the photo slightly so she could see it. This is clear. You were in a disabled spot, she shrugged. So write the ticket. That's what tickets are for. I'll pay. It's like a donation. Minor disrespect, quick and sharp, and it landed wrong. I kept my voice even. A ticket is not a donation, it is a consequence. She leaned toward the microphone. For normal people, sure. I heard a low murmur. Someone in the back whispered, Did she just say that? The prosecutor didn't smile. Your Honor, we also have the parking officer's report. The officer wrote that the defendant refused to move and said, quote, Call whoever you want. My husband will make this go away. I looked up from the paper. Ms. Vale, did you say that? She crossed her arms. I might have. People were being dramatic. Authority challenge, name-dropping, the kind that tries to push the court off balance. I sat back slightly. Who is your husband, Ms. Vale? She lifted her chin higher. Governor Vale. The room made a sound, not loud, but real, like a door closing. I felt every eye in the courtroom shift to me to see if I would flinch. I did not. I spoke in a calm, firm way. This is Providence Municipal Court. The governor does not sit on this bench. I do. She laughed once, a short laugh. Okay, but let's be honest. You know how it works. I turned to the prosecutor. Evidence number 2? Yes, Your Honor. The prosecutor held up a printed page. These are call logs from the parking officer's body phone. After the officer issued the citation, the defendant made a call on speaker. She said she was calling the chief. The officer recorded the audio as part of the incident report. Her lawyer jumped up. Objection. I raised my hand. I will allow it. This goes to behavior at the scene. The prosecutor played the audio. I heard her voice, clear as day, bright and sharp, like someone ordering coffee. I need this handled, her voice said. I'm at Mercy Square. Yes, the clinic. I'm in a disabled spot. It's ridiculous. Tell him to tear up the ticket. I'm not staying for this. Then I heard another voice, nervous. Ma'am, I can't, and her voice cut in. Do you know who I am? The gallery shifted. A woman in the second row shook her head slowly. The audio stopped. Ms. Vale rolled her eyes again. That's not illegal. That's just making a call. I looked at her. It is not illegal to speak, but it can show intent. It can show attitude. And today, your attitude is loud. She smirked. My attitude is honest. The prosecutor stepped closer. Evidence number 3, Your Honor. He held up a small tablet. This is security video from Mercy Square Clinic. It shows the bus with the ramp. It shows the wheelchair passenger attempting to exit. It shows the ramp edge catching because of the SUV's position. It shows the passenger tipping. I felt my throat get tight again. I've watched many videos, but I still brace myself each time, because pain looks the same no matter who it belongs to. The screen faced me. The video played. I saw the bus. I saw Leon step out fast. I saw him check the space, then look around. I saw him gesture with both hands like he was begging someone to come move the car. I saw the woman in the chair. She held a bag on her lap. Her shoulders were tense. Then the ramp came down at an awkward angle. The chair rolled, the wheel caught, and the chair tipped. Leon lunged. He caught her. Even on a silent video, I could almost hear her gasp. The prosecutor paused the video on the moment Leon's arms held her up. Your Honor, this is the moment. She did not hit the ground because he caught her. The courtroom was very quiet. I looked at Ms. Vale. Do you want to say anything about what we just saw? She looked at the screen and then away, like it was boring. Nobody got hurt. He caught her. So, what's the big deal? Leon's face changed. He wasn't angry before. He was sad. Now he looked like he might break. He spoke, and his voice was low. She was hurt, not on the outside, in here. He touched his chest. She cried in my bus. She said she felt like a package. Ms. Vale laughed again. Oh my God, a package? Come on. That was the direct insult. That was the line cross. She turned her head toward Leon like she was finally looking at him for real. You bus guys love to act like heroes. Maybe if you parked better, none of this would happen. Leon opened his mouth, but no words came out. His eyes got shiny. I watched it all from my bench. I could feel the courtroom holding its breath, like the whole room was on a rope, and one more tug would snap it. And then she said it. She leaned into the microphone, smiling like she was about to win. This court is just a room with old wood, she said, and you're just a man in a robe. If I want that spot, I take that spot, because people like me don't wait for people like them. That was the nuclear quote. 10 seconds of silence fell like a heavy blanket. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just looked at her. Then the gallery erupted. Not cheering, not clapping. It was shock. People talking at once. A woman said, "Did she really say that?" Another man said, "That's disgusting." Someone else muttered, "Shame." The bailiff raised his hand and called, "Order." But the sound had already done its job. It showed me something important. I felt my face change, not into anger, into something colder, something that comes when I hear a person say the quiet part out loud. I waited until the room settled. Then I spoke. "Ms. Vale," I said, "stand up." She stood, still smiling, like she thought she had power here. I looked at her for a long moment. "You said this court is just a room with old wood. You said I'm just a man in a robe. You said you take what you want because people like you don't wait for people like them." I paused. "Did I hear you right?" She lifted her shoulders. "Yes, because it's true." I nodded slowly. "Thank you for being honest. Honesty is a gift in court, but it can also be a mirror. And today, you just held a mirror up to yourself." I leaned forward. "Marissa Vale, you are 36 years old. You are smart enough to know what a disabled sign means. You are old enough to know what respect means, yet you walked into this courtroom like you were above everyone." I said her name again, clear. "Marissa, let me ask you a hard question. If it was your mother in that wheelchair, would you call it drama?" She blinked, just once. Her smile got smaller. I continued. "If it was you on that ramp, feeling your chair tip, feeling your stomach drop, would you say, 'Nobody got hurt'?" Her lawyer whispered to her, but she didn't look at him. I spoke softly now, but strong. "I have sat on this bench and watched people with nothing come in here with more manners than you brought today. I have watched a single mom count coins to pay a ticket and still say, 'Yes, Your Honor,' because she respects the process." I looked at Leon. "Mr. Harper comes here after waking up before sunrise, after carrying the weight of his family, after saving a woman from falling. He did not come here for applause. He came because the system only works when regular people speak up. Then I looked back at her. Marissa Vale, your privilege is like a warm coat. It protects you. It makes you comfortable. But if you wear it like armor, you stop feeling other people's pain. I pointed gently toward the screen where the video had frozen. That woman in the chair did not ask for special treatment. She asked for a safe place to exist. I repeated her own words back to her. You said, if I want that spot, I take that spot. That is not strength. That is not leadership. That is not class. That is selfishness. Her eyes flashed. So what? You're going to punish me because you don't like my tone? I shook my head. No, I'm going to sentence you because of your choice, and because of what your choice did to another human being. I paused again. And because you tried to bend the rules by name-dropping your husband. She opened her mouth. I raised my hand. I'm not done. I said her name the third time, slower. Marissa, when you walk into a disabled space, you are not stealing paint. You are stealing access. You are stealing safety. You are stealing time. And sometimes you are stealing hope. Her face finally changed. The confidence slipped, just a little. I asked one more question. Do you understand why this is wrong? Her voice came out quieter. I understand it upset people. I nodded. It did more than upset people. I took a breath. Now I'm going to tell you what happens next. I looked down at the file. Then I looked up. Ms. Vale, the fine for parking in a disabled space without a permit is $500. Because your vehicle also blocked ramp access, and because of your conduct at the scene, I am adding a court cost of $150. I spoke clearly so everyone heard. Total financial penalty, $650, due in 30 days. Her lawyer started to speak, but I held up my hand. Second, I said, your license will be suspended for 60 days. Her eyes widened. What? I stayed calm. 60 days. You may apply for a restricted license after 30 days, only for medical appointments and work, and only if you prove you have started your community service. She looked around like she expected someone to stop me. Third, I continued, community service. This will be directly tied to what you did. I leaned forward. You will complete 120 hours. She scoffed, but it sounded weaker now. I kept going, detailed and punchy. You will do those hours at the Mercy Square Clinic Mobility Assistance Program. You will not be in an office. You will not be taking selfies. You will be helping staff guide patients from the lot to the door. You will learn what ramps, lifts, and chairs really mean. I looked at her. Schedule. 3 days a week. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. 4 hours each day. From 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. You will do this for 10 weeks. Her mouth dropped open. I cut in, still calm. That's what it is. I added supervision. You will report to Ms. Joan Ricker, the volunteer coordinator. She will sign your hours. She will send a report to this court every 2 weeks. If you miss a day, you make it up within the same week. The gallery was quiet again, but now it felt different. It felt like the room could breathe. Fourth, I said, public accountability. Her face tightened. You will write a handwritten apology, I continued. Not typed, handwritten, 2 pages. 1 page to Mr. Harper, 1 page to Ms. Delia Cruz. I paused. And you will read a short statement on camera for a court-approved public service message. She looked shocked. On camera? Yes, I said. It will be 30 seconds. You will say, in simple words, why disabled spaces matter. You will not mention your husband. You will not mention politics. You will talk about respect. Then I added special conditions because behavior matters. Fifth, I said, you are ordered to complete a 1-day empathy workshop. She frowned like she didn't know the word, so I explained it. Empathy means you feel what another person feels. The workshop is at the Providence Community Center. It starts at 9 a.m. and ends at 3 p.m. You will sit, you will listen, you will not interrupt. She started to speak again, sharp. This is ridiculous. You're making an example out of me. I looked at her with steady eyes. You made an example out of yourself when you said, people like me don't wait for people like them. Then I addressed contempt because she had crossed the court itself. Ms. Vale, I said, your words in this courtroom were not just rude. They were an attack on the idea that the law is for everyone. I nodded to the bailiff, but I did not rush it. Bailiff, step forward. The bailiff moved beside her. Her eyes darted. What are you doing? I spoke calmly. Because of your contempt, your disrespect to the court after repeated warnings, I am remanding you into custody for 24 hours. The room made a small sound, like a single breath being pulled in. Her lawyer stood fast. Your Honor, I looked at him kindly but firm. Counsel, I warned her multiple times. Ms. Vale's voice rose. You can't. The bailiff gently took her wrists. The handcuffs clicked. That sound is never pretty. It is a sound that tells a person this is real. Her face went pale. The confidence vanished like smoke. I continued because clarity is mercy too. You will be released tomorrow at this time. You will return to this courtroom for a review hearing on March 3rd, 2026. If you fail any condition, you will serve additional time and your license suspension will extend. She looked at me, and for the first time, she looked small. As she was led away, Leon stayed standing. His hands were trembling. I looked at him. Mr. Harper. Yes, Your Honor, he said. Thank you, I told him. Not for calling the ticket in, for catching her, for doing the right thing when it mattered. His eyes filled. I couldn't let her fall. I nodded. That's what makes you strong. A few months passed. On March 3rd, she came back. She walked slower now. No white coat, no shiny smile. Her hair was pulled back, plain. She held a folder with paper inside. Her lawyer looked less tired. I asked, Ms. Vale, are you here for your review? Yes, she said. Her voice was different, not sweet, not fake, just lower. The prosecutor handed me the reports. I read them. She had completed 64 hours already. She showed up on time. She helped patients. She carried bags. She pushed wheelchairs under supervision. She did not complain, according to the coordinator. I looked at her. Do you have your apology letters? She held them up with both hands like they were heavier than paper. I read parts quietly to myself. One line made my throat tighten. She wrote, I thought my time was worth more than your safety. I was wrong. I was cruel. I am sorry. I looked up at her. Her eyes were red. I asked, Why are you crying, Ms. Vale? She swallowed hard. Because I met a kid at the clinic. He's 9. He has a chair. He asked me if people hate him because he's slow. The gallery was silent again, but this time it was soft. She wiped her face with the back of her hand, and I heard my own words in my head. People like me don't wait for people like them. And I felt sick. I nodded slowly. That is the sound of growth. I leaned forward. Marissa Vale, you can't erase what happened, but you can decide who you will be next. I looked at the prosecutor, then back to her. Because you complied, I said, I will not extend your license suspension. You may apply for the restricted license today, as ordered, and you will keep completing the hours. She nodded fast. Yes, Your Honor. I will. I added one more thing, simple and strong. And if you ever use your husband's name to try to bend a rule again, you will come back here and we will not have a long conversation. She whispered, I understand. That day, when court ended, I sat alone for a moment. The courtroom lights hummed. The benches were empty. Papers lay still. But the words from earlier were still in the air, like dust you can't see. I thought about disabled spaces, about ramps, about the way a small choice can make a big wound. I also thought about Leon Harper, waking up before dawn to carry people who already carry too much. And I thought about Marissa Vale, learning, painfully, that dignity is not something you buy, it is something you give. Justice is not about making someone cry, It is about making someone see. And the lesson is simple. A society is judged by how it treats the people who have to move through life the hard way. My final line, the one I hope people remember, is this. If you want to know who you really are, look at how you treat the person who can't fight back.